Thank you, Dr. Carter, and let me begin by acknowledging the platform committee. Dr. Carter, members of the administration, trustees, faculty, distinguished guests on the platform, family, friends, and most of all, my 2018 Francis Marion classmates. I'm proud to be among you. Today, each of you marks a major milestone in your life as you prepare to leave the comfort of your alma mater and embark on the next phase of life's exciting journey. How this 75-year-old person envies you. Alma mater, as you may know, is Latin for kindly mother. And that is precisely what Francis Marion University has been during your time here. This institution has nurtured you as a mother would, providing you with the tools you will need to face the challenge of the tumultuous world you are about to enter. In the less than half century of its existence, Francis Marion University has established itself as a major force among regional universities. In just 2 years, you will have the opportunity as alumni to celebrate the 50th anniversary of this institution, which, with the liberal arts as its foundational cornerstone, will continue to proudly serve the PD, the state of South Carolina, and the nation. Under the leadership of Dr. Carter, your Board of Trustees, and with community support from benefactors such as Dr. Keith and Senator Leatherman, Francis Marion will attain even greater heights in the next half century of its existence. The emphasis on liberal arts at this institution with its dedicated faculty will serve you well as you navigate a world filled with turmoil and strife. The British ethologist Richard Dawkins has observed, perhaps tongue-in-cheek, regarding mankind and its relationship to liberal education, that no other species has literature, music, art, mathematics, and science. No other species makes books, complicated machines. No other species devotes substantial lengths of time to pursuits that don't contribute directly to survival or reproduction. Speaking of reproduction, the recent emphasis on STEM is appropriate in a world where technology advances, if not daily, certainly hourly. The skills and capacities acquired by liberal arts graduates can never be replaced by machines. The capacity to communicate, to create, to think, and to adapt are the hallmarks of the liberally educated person. Those are the skills and capacities that Francis Marion has instilled in you. You will need those skills as you leave the comfort of this nurturing environment and enter that real world. And that is a world filled and populated these days with dangerous authoritarian regimes which threaten the existence of the democratic institutions which are foundational to the preservation of a peaceful world order. And in that regard, a person named Jean Monnet, who was the architect of the recovery of post-World War II Europe, famously observed, "Nothing is possible without men and women. Nothing lasts without institutions." In our own country, our democratic institutions, whether it's the judicial system from which I come, the free press, and yes, even our universities, are under attack, siege from without and from within. Indeed, if these institutions, which make this nation exceptional, are to last, as Monet said, it will be because an educated populace has pushed back against the forces that imperil its existence. How will that be done? It'll be done by motivated young people like this wonderfully diverse group, utilizing these tools that you have acquired in your educational experience. You'll do it by engaging in civil, not hostile and rancorous discourse, by listening thoughtfully to points of view that run counter to your own, by recognizing that there may be virtue in those opposing points of view, and by being willing to consider and even to adopt thoughtful and cogent arguments that on first impression may cause you discomfort. And please know that you are not entitled to live in a world that is offense-free and always makes you feel uncomfortable. What a boring existence that would be. It has been said if those who were certain of the rightness of their views were empowered to silence those whose views made them feel uncomfortable, we would never have had civil rights, women's rights, or gay rights movements in our nation. Expect your comfort zone to be challenged. Embrace that experience and expect to challenge those of others in return. In doing so, seek to avoid the coarsened rhetoric and vitriolic personal attacks that have poisoned our political process of late. Most of all, do not fall prey to what Robert Zimmer, the president of the University of Chicago, has referred to as the trap of self-deceit. The trap, essentially speaking, is the ease of self-delusion first noted by, well, in recorded history. And you know that somebody with a name like Costa Pleicones is going to have to get a Greek in here. So it was first noted by the Greek philosopher orator Demosthenes 3,000 years ago, who observed that the wish is parent to the thought, and that is why nothing is easier than self-deceit. In short, what a person wants to be true, they also believe to be true. That ease of self-deceit, at least in my opinion, underlies the divisiveness and unprincipled contentiousness that so pervades everyday life in our country. It is this self-delusion that causes people of one mindset or another to believe everything they see and hear on their favored news outlet, whichever end of the political spectrum it happens to represent. Because it's easier to fall prey to this confirmation bias than to examine and to appreciate points of view not necessarily compatible with your own preconceptions. Overcoming self-deceit takes hard work and conscious effort. The good news is that's precisely what your Francis Marion education has freed your mind to do. Freedom of the mind, after all, is the desired effect of a liberal arts education. You can, and I am confident you will, make a difference. Not only because of the empowerment of your educational experience, but because countering those forces that seek to undermine our democratic institutions, there exist those that seek to preserve and protect our democratic institutions. Join them. As President Lincoln observed in another time not too long ago, that was a time when our nation was deeply divided, we are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. Know that America, for all its flaws, is and always has been the world's greatest nation. It's up to you to help keep it that way. So listen to the voices of Lincoln's better angels. Whether the next step for you is graduate school, the workforce, the military, just some time off to travel, and you should enjoy today with your family and friends. You've earned it. Tomorrow is soon enough for you to embark on the task of shoring up the moral compass of the world. And as you do that, never forget that it was your alma mater that made it possible. Return often to your kindly mother and support her with your treasure and your time. Congratulations, and go Patriots. Thank you.